In the verdant hills of Koraput district in Odisha, tribal communities live. Their lives are woven deeply with the forests. These forests are their ancestors' home and their cultural identity. The Kendu leaf is central to their existence. It provides a vital income for their families. But a struggle has emerged for control over this resource. They seek what the law promises them. The Forest Rights Act of 2006 aims to empower them. But the path to reality is filled with obstacles. Subscribe, like, and share Cosmo Academia. The Kendu leaf is known by many as the green gold of Odisha. In other parts of India, people call it Kendu leaf. This leaf is a non-wood forest product, or NWFP. It is highly valued. The leaves are plucked from the tree, which grows abundantly in the forests of Odisha and neighboring states. These leaves are typically broad, pliable, and have a unique texture. These qualities make them ideal for their primary use. The collection process is labor-intensive. It requires skill and knowledge of the forest, often possessed by the tribal communities who live there. The most common use of Kendu leaves is for rolling tobacco to make bidis. Bidis are traditional, inexpensive cigarettes, very popular across India. The Kendu leaf acts as the wrapper for the tobacco. Millions of bidis are produced and consumed daily. This makes the Kendu leaf a very important raw material for a large industry. Beyond bidis, the leaves also have some medicinal properties recognized in traditional healing practices. This dual importance, economic and medicinal, further elevates the status of the Kendu leaf, making it a critical resource for many people in the region. The significance of Kendu leaves for livelihoods cannot be overstated. The Scheduled Tribes and other traditional forest dwellers' Recognition of Forest Rights Act 2006, commonly known as the FRA, was a landmark piece of legislation in India. Its main purpose was to correct the historical injustices faced by forest-dwelling communities. For centuries, these communities lived in and depended on forests. Yet, they often lacked legal rights over these lands and resources. The FRA aimed to recognize and vest these rights in the people who had conserved these forests for generations. A very important part of the FRA relates to minor forest produce, or MFP. Kendu leaves are classified as MFP. The Act grants forest-dwelling communities the right to collect, use, and dispose of MFP that they have traditionally collected within or outside village boundaries. This provision is crucial. It means that communities like those in Koraput have a legal right to the Kendu leaves they gather. This was a significant shift from the earlier system where the Forest Department had almost complete control over such produce, often treating local collectors merely as wage laborers. A critical amendment to the FRA came in 2012. This amendment further empowered the communities. It clarified that Gram Sabhas, village councils, have the right to issue transit passes for transporting MFP. The 2025 Kendu leaf harvesting season is currently underway in the Koraput district. It is a time of hard work, but also of growing assertion by the tribal communities. In the Boipariguda block, 8 Gram Sabhas have taken a significant step. Villages like Kalata Jodi, Kupuliguda and Badalibeda are among them. Together, these communities have diligently harvested more than 4 lakh bundles of Kendu leaves. This is a substantial amount, representing many days of toil by numerous families. Each leaf is carefully plucked and bundled, ready for sale. The objective of these 8 Gram Sabhas is clear and bold. They are seeking to independently manage and sell these harvested Kendu leaves. They want to do this under the rights granted to them by the Forest Rights Act 2006. This is a direct challenge to the long-standing system where the government, through its agencies, controlled the entire process. The communities believe that the FRA empowers them to take charge of their economic destiny. They feel that they, the collectors, should benefit most from the green gold they gather from their ancestral forests. However, their path is not smooth. Subscribe, like, and share Cosmo Academia. The delays in selling Kendu leaves create severe economic vulnerability for the tribal communities. This is not a new problem. In a previous season, likely 2024, an estimated 620,000 bundles of Kendu leaves, worth around 34 lakh rupees, were at risk of going unsold in Odisha due to similar permit delays. Such situations are disastrous for families who depend almost entirely on this income. With the monsoon season approaching, the risk of the harvested leaves spoiling increases daily. This would mean their hard labor goes to waste, and their hopes for a better year are dashed. Another financial burden on the Kendu leaf trade has been the imposition of an 18% goods and services tax, or GST, since 2017 to 18. This tax has added to the costs and complexities, potentially reducing the returns for the pluckers. Interestingly, Odisha's state revenues from Kendu Leaf procurement have seen a dramatic fall. Revenue dropped from 426 crore rupees in 2016 to just 90 crore rupees in 2023. While the reasons for this decline might be complex, it indicates a troubled system that is not benefiting either the state or the primary collectors as it once did. The Forest Department often conflicts with community aspirations in the Kendu Leaf saga. In Koraput, the department delays or refuses necessary transit permits. These permits are crucial for Gram Sabhas to transport and sell harvested leaves. This prevents communities from exercising their rights under the Forest Rights Act. Efforts to sell Kendu leaves directly are sometimes deemed illegal by the Forest Department. The department cites state laws granting monopoly powers to government agencies. This clashes with the FRA, which should ideally prevail. Official resistance reflects reluctance to devolve power over forest resources. Higher authorities have not responded to requests for deregulation of the Kendu leaf trade. The demand is for Gram Sabhas to manage and sell Kendu leaves without interference. Despite the ongoing struggles in places like Koraput, the picture is not entirely bleak across Odisha. There are positive precedents from other districts. These examples show that when tribal communities are allowed to exercise their rights over Kendu leaves, they can achieve better economic outcomes. These success stories offer valuable lessons and a ray of hope. They demonstrate that the framework of the Forest Rights Act can indeed work for the benefit of the forest dwellers if implemented with sincerity and support from the administration. One such encouraging example comes from the neighboring Nabarangpur district. In Nabarangpur, there have been instances where the trade of Kendu leaves has been successfully deregulated, at least to some extent. Tribal communities in certain areas have been able to manage the collection and sale of leaves more independently. Reports indicate that this has led to higher earnings for these communities. They were able to negotiate better prices directly with buyers, bypassing intermediaries or restrictive government rates. This has tangibly improved their livelihoods and empowered them economically. Subscribe, like, and share Cosmo Academia. The ongoing struggle of the Koraput tribals over Kendu leaves is not just a local issue. It is a reflection of a much larger challenge concerning the implementation of tribal rights across India. The Forest Rights Act 2006 was enacted with great hope. It promised to undo historical injustices and empower millions of forest dwellers. However, more than a decade and a half later, its full and effective implementation remains a significant hurdle. The situation in Koraput is a stark reminder of this gap between the law's promise and the ground reality faced by Adivasi communities. Historically, forest policies in India, often dating back to colonial times, tended to marginalize tribal communities. Forests were seen primarily as sources of revenue for the state, and tribal people were often viewed as encroachers. The FRA was a radical departure, legally recognizing the symbiotic relationship between tribals and forests. It acknowledged their role as custodians of the forest. Yet old mindsets and bureaucratic resistance often hindered the spirit of this progressive legislation. The fight for Kendu leaf rights is part of this broader quest for dignity and justice. In essence, the situation in Koraput revolves around a fundamental conflict. On one hand, the tribal communities have legally enshrined rights under the Forest Rights Act to manage and sell the Kendu leaves they collect. This green gold is vital for their survival and economic well-being. On the other hand, they face systemic obstacles, bureaucratic delays, and a reluctance from some parts of the administration to fully cede control. This standoff is causing immense hardship to people who are already among the most marginalized in our society. The urgency of resolving this situation cannot be overstated. The Kendu leaves harvested in the 2025 season are perishable. With each passing day, especially as the monsoon approaches, the risk of these leaves getting spoiled increases. For the tribal families who have toiled to collect them, this means a direct loss of their expected income for the year. Such losses can push families deeper into poverty and debt. Therefore, immediate and decisive action is required to ensure that the communities can sell their produce without further delay and at fair prices. The path forward requires a sincere commitment to upholding the Forest Rights Act 2006 in both letter and spirit. If you found this video insightful, please subscribe, like, and share Cosmo Academia. Your support helps us bring more such stories to light.